Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the BF-109 K4 here on the dev server in a test flight. Now it's barely impossible to get a match in the K4, and the reason why I fly this aircraft, which is in the game for a very long time, if not from the beginning, is that it now finally receives a rework in the flight model. The K4 has a reputation of being not the most competitive plane at its battle rating, nor is its armament the very best. It is more or less, or its intentional design in the Second World War was to climb drastically and rapidly up to bomber altitude and to either fight the enemy escort aircraft, but the main target were, of course, the bombers. But then in the game it was always disappointing. It was always never that extremely bad in terms of pure climbing or diving, but the overall handling with the instructor issues and so on was really bad. It was just not competitive in a 1 versus 1 against other Axis planes, the Aircats, Griffin Spitfires, you name it. And now the change is glorious. It's not completely over the top overpowered, but I never asked for that. I always asked for it to be on par with the quality of the flight model, and I think the K4 has it. Now there are numerous other changes that are already in there, and just look at the response. No wobbling around, no, just direct response, what I ever wanted. And you can hold 600 kilometers an hour on sea level. That is amazing. That is truly amazing. And if I sound like a little bit excited, yes I am. I can't wait to jump onto the live server in 3 or 4 weeks time, which is around the time that I guess the patch will come out, and to just enjoy it and to fight the P-51H. I have no idea how it flies, how much better it is compared to the D series, for example the D30, but we will see. And look at this, the plane turns, the plane responds, it's not hanging in the air like a dead brick. And previously I never felt comfortable fighting against enemy aircraft, but now after several test flights and several very dubious maneuvers that I tried out, which some of them ended in a crash, much on the burning wreck that you might see in the background from time to time on the bridge, I really think it is about damn time. Now, how big is the impact? I cannot tell you. I have not fought anybody, but the pure feeling of, you know, swinging the mouse around and the response to the key binding impacts, the lack of struggling in turning and staying in the air as an actual airplane is something that I really love about it. I would be okay if the change would be something in the region of, if you remember the old Corsair flight models compared to the new ones. It truly feels like that. Corsairs are now really nice to fly. They turn, but there are no Spitfires. And indeed, I would shy away from a pure turn fight on the same energy level as, for example, a Griffin Spitfire. What I'm talking here about is that I can still make use of advantageous positioning. When I put all my effort into climbing, when I put all my effort into keeping an energy advantage over my opponent, and you know, I can turn with him to a certain degree. Look at this. I could potentially follow everything in a slight maneuver, not a full turn, but I can stay on target for such a time period that I can make the crucial hits. That was always something that the BF-109 K4 or the G series from the G2 onwards really lacked. The F models also seem to receive a flight model update, and I have to excessively test it. Again, I'm not quite sure how much the dev server allows me in terms of testing in terms of time, and you know, it's just in the test flight. So it might also be that other planes might receive an update in terms of the flight model and so on, and then that the BF-109 is, you know, not the glorious thing that I am promoting here right now. One last wish. Gaijin, you seem to have done it right with the BF-109 so far. Can we see updates on the Focke-Wulfs? Please? Huh? Yeah. That's really something that I would love to see. Look at that glorious handling. Look at that. But at the same time, it's not Japanese, it's not British. Yet it is so much better. The gap between the flight models and their quality was just too big. I think when we compare it to the rockets still are dangerous. If they hit the top of a tank, they still are very likely to penetrate and, you know, one-shot it. I have to test that again. It's just according to the updated stat cards that are now on the dev server at least. However, they will not very likely one-shot a tank with a near splash. And that's all that I'm asking for. I'm asking for the ridiculous things to go away and to be fixed. And it seems like the BF-109 now is, or the K4 in this example, is now denerved. It feels like an actual realistic battle plane. It doesn't feel like a dead brick, like a twin-engine bomber when it comes to maneuvering. And I can't wait to test it out. I really can't. Now there are still issues with the weapon systems, with being outgunned, without having any impact on tank RB matches, in terms of that you're not very good at cars. You might one-shot certain AAA vehicles when hitting with the 30mm mine shells in the open crew compartment, but you know, that's not that important. I mean, look at that. Now, cutting the throttle, deploying the flaps, or in this case not, I guess, and see how it maneuvers around. Before that, it hung like in the air for what felt like 2 minutes. A bit over exaggerating, like it's such a massive difference. I love it. I love it. And I think I will just let you enjoy the rest of the test flight. Previously, I would have crashed multiple times with the old flight model. So I might do a comparison video if I get enough footage, if I get into a battle, or if I can make several test flights to directly compare certain scenes. Like, also the acceleration seems to be better. You actually go by yourself beyond 500 kilometers, 550, up to 600 in the long run. So you can make for the escaping run. That is one thing that I also was really shocked about, that the BF-109K previously could not do. What am I talking about? Well, imagine you screw up. Imagine you have the altitude advantage and the Spitfire does weird maneuvering, gets away with it, and you overshoot. You can pull up, but you know, within the next turn you will end up in front of his guns. So you turn again in such a way that the Spitfire pulls up, for example, and you just run. You just go into a sharp dive, accelerate to, let's say, 500, 600 kilometers an hour, and just go for it. And that now buys you enough time to either escape fully or up until a teammate arrives. And that's something that I'm really looking forward. So that was a glimpse of glory of the BF-109K4. I'm just overwhelmed right now with how much difference there is between the old and the new K4. I have to test it out with planes like the G14, G10, hell, even the G2. Not so much with the G6, as it was more like a heavy fighter with all the 30mm guns and not really up to the task of being competitive against the G2 when being equipped with just the 20mm cannon. And also maybe I'll compare the BF109 G14 to the Italian G14 AS. So that's it for me for now from the dev server. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies of War Thunder.